I'd like to introduce you all to your algorithm. Let them Thank you, Justin. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Let's just start with just a little bit of housekeeping here before we begin. Tonight's talk, we are being live streamed. Thank you to Justin and the Tennessee Holler. So for your friends who aren't watching this, you guys can watch it on his YouTube channel at a later date or share with your friends. I also wanted to thank Michelle, Margaret, and Marcy with Anzie Blue here for hosting this tonight. And I wanted to give a special thank you to somebody who's not here. It's our other favorite content aggregator and creator. It's A Girl Has No President. She won't be here tonight because she keeps her persona private, but she was really instrumental in making this happen and getting everybody here tonight. And I know she's watching at home, so she was definitely one of the original content creators. She probably begrudgingly paved the way for a lot of political content creators. So please just give a round of applause for A Girl. Okay, so here's the rundown of the evening. We're going to talk.
I know what she looks like. I'm not going to tell you.
Me too. We're going to talk with our panelists for the next 70 minutes or so. When you guys all arrive, there are index cards in your seats along with pens. So when we're talking tonight, if there's a question or if somebody says something that sparks any thought or question, please write it down and then pass it to your left. And Michelle or Margaret will pick them up. And then we've carved out some time at the end for us to do a little bit of Q&A. And then I think that's it. I mean, I could honestly talk to these folks individually for a solid hour each. I don't know how we're going to cram all of these questions in, but we're going to try. So thank you guys for spending your Thursday evening with us. I was here. A quick introduction of myself, Alexis. Alexis, I just want to point out, is helping Miriam run her campaign against illegals. She's taken the night off. This is how she spends her night off from running a campaign, a political campaign is with us. So I think that says a lot about you, Alexis. All right, a little bit about me. My name is Sarah Bear. I'll be moderating tonight. I live here in Nashville. I have a company called Kindred, and I really work. My hope is that I can merge art and politics. I like to find that apex and show artists, musicians, creators that artistry and politics can coexist and even thrive. And so that's what I do. I also work on Gloria Johnson's U.S. Senate campaign. I would be remiss to say that there are Gloria Johnson yard signs in the back, and I want you all to take one home with you. And for the last year, I have been working with individuals, these content creators, and working on the Kamala campaign and working with individual content creators so that we can amplify digital content that moves the progressive needle and uses content that these guys create that's been proven to be effective. It's not always what you think it is. And so that's kind of what we do at a national level here. But anyway, now, like I said before, let me introduce you to your algorithm. It's definitely my algorithm. I'm working on getting more cat content in my life. But at the moment, if you were to open up my Instagram, it would be all of you guys. So we'll start with Lindsay, Beham Progressive, right here. Elizabeth, Booker Squared. our very own Justin with the tennis recorder. In the back, we have Toby from Word Clown. And Michael with Dizzy Entertainment. Now, tonight's conversation, we are going to talk a lot about just politics in general, some of the political landscape as far as the presidential campaign goes, but we're going to talk a lot about statewide politics. I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a movement happening here in southern states. It is palpable. It is energizing. I've lived here for almost 15 years, and I have never seen so many individuals engaged in what's happening here in Tennessee, in Nashville, and across the state. All of our panelists are either from the South or live in a southern state at the moment. So I think that a big reason why the momentum is so vibrating right now is because the content that these guys share, they're, again, amplifying the work that our policymakers, our advocate workers are doing. And so thank you for that. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of background. And I am going to, I just also want to give a little bit of a disclaimer for our friends at home. I could play videos all night long, but you guys watch those at home on your phones. And we will save our friends who are watching the live stream at home. We don't want them watching us watching videos. But for just a few instances, I do want to play a few videos here and there. So please bear with me when I hit play on these things because I have to like navigate all of them. But let's start with Liz. Liz, you live in Washington, D.C., but you are from Memphis, so welcome.
Hell yeah.
All right. In addition to your content work, you are a lawyer, a gun safety advocate, a comedian, an online activist, a professional speed talker, because nobody talks faster than Liz. My question is, do you have more hours in your 24-hour period than we do? Just kidding. That's not my question, but seriously, it's fun. I don't know how you do all of it in that short amount of time. What prompted you to create your first political post, and do you recall which one it was?
The very first political post I made was during COVID. It was on TikTok. I was a new mom, had a 3-month-old. I was on maternity leave, and I had recently switched into privacy law when COVID hit because I thought that my specialty of public health law of epidemics, pandemics, quarantine, and isolation wouldn't be useful. And that is very real. I was the first JPH grad from Memphis, and I was the only JPH grad from Memphis, and so that had been trained at the CDC. So all of a sudden, my phone was blowing up, and everybody was like, "We got one grad, and it's a baby lawyer." And so, I started making content publicly just about things like how emergency use authorizations work for vaccines, what quarantine and isolation laws are, mask mandates, all of that stuff. And so I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was one of those. And then the second video that really popped off and made me go viral was a satire about LGBTQ rights, and Lil Nas X duetted it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, we are going to play one very briefly, just again, we're just as
Worry back, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. If everyone in the state wants it.
I know that crazy ass clip of that dumbass bitch is rolling all over the internet. I just want to remind y'all that in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, which is the Supreme Court case that overturned Roe versus Wade, the majority opinion on the Supreme Court compared people not being able to petition their state legislators on issues of abortion to Black school children being segregated in public schools. They used Brown versus Board of Education as precedent for that decision. Let me roll it back for you. They said that Black school children being segregated and Jim Crow era laws were the same as not allowing pro-lifers to decide what other people do with their bodies. They literally made those people out to be the same as people facing racism. That comparison really fucking happened. So this logic that this little girl is rolling with is par for the course for these motherfuckers, okay? I also want to remind you that the reason why this entire fuck shit happened is because Donald Trump got to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices on the court. We know damn well that none of this would have happened under Hillary Clinton. Y'all gotta just get with the program, okay? And understand that the next president is probably gonna get to appoint 2 Supreme Court justices. And I need y'all to remember that shit.
Thank you.
I cussed a lot.
So I have to say, yeah, that's why it resonates, okay? I have to say, I asked everybody to send some, like, just either a video that's currently trending or something that is a favorite of theirs, and she's like, can I cuss? And I'm like, do you make videos where you don't? Which she doesn't. Okay, so one thing I love about Liz is I literally learn something every single time I watch a video. Now, one thing, when I first watched this video, I had to watch it twice. Okay, you talk fast, but also there was a lot of information in there. And then you went back a few days later and you did a second video about it. Tell us why.
I had somebody ask me, they said, can you talk slower? And give more detail why. And I was like, all right, we'll see how this goes. And I'm surprised it actually trended really well because it's almost 6 minutes long, which people got short attention spans. But I wanted to break down how squirrely that decision was because of how they went back through substantive due process, why that's going to affect a bunch of other cases, and also like really explaining why they made the comparison that they said that Roe versus Wade was the equivalent of Plessy versus Ferguson, which is separate but equal doctrine that upheld segregation. So I needed people to like really see that because, you know, you just see the news headlines of like, oh, Roe versus Wade was overturned. You don't see the logic of how they got there, and it was horrendous. And so once I posted that, I got a ton of comments from people saying, I knew it was bad, but I actually didn't know how bad it was. I'm like, yes, because this is really my Roman Empire. I will talk in detail about this case all day.
Yes, and I'm thankful for that. But that's what even the stuff that I like hear and I listen to it, and then I hear the second video and watch the second video, and I'm appreciative of it, and I got it the first time. So thank you for that. The next one, and before we talk with our friend Justin, I actually just want to play this video because it sets the tone.
Can you see I'm talking to someone, you jackass? Yeah, get out of my face, loser. Senator, 5 minutes talking to me. So anyway, just to say, I have to visit with him about something, if you don't mind. I don't get too many chances to talk to my senator, so I finally got him to say something to me. That's going to show the true colors. Get some colors.
Justin Canoe, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Canoe. Okay, can you please tell us a little background for that video?
Well, that's my senator, Jack Johnson. He doesn't talk to me very much, so I have to just catch him when I can. Actually, that was a special moment because we've been doing this 5 years now, and for the first 4, he just wouldn't talk to me at all. But he finally snapped on me. So I've been waiting for that moment for like 4 years. So it was a real pleasure. Yeah, you know, I've spent a lot of time at the Capitol, and we only get so much time to interact with them. You know, he'll say, oh, just make an appointment, but you don't get appointments with them too often. So you just got to make do with what you can. And, you know, the only way that we're going to make any progress around here is by people seeing who these people really are. So that's who Jack Johnson really is right there.
Does he ever make an appointment? Like when you make a request an appointment, does he ever say yes?
He's certainly not going to make an appointment with me. He has definitely met with constituents here and there. Sometimes they'll record it and send us the audio of it. You know, they'll make appointments, but, you know, you don't really get who they really are. And I guess that's one thing I wanted to say about the people up here with me and some people in the audience. Lindsay Patrick Wright is here. We need people to explain what's really happening. And, you know, there are media out there that are doing good work. I'm not trying to assail all media, but too often they're trying to both sides things and they don't give you what's real. So it's now fallen on regular people. I mean, these are regular people who have decided, you know what, I need to spend my time telling folks what's really going on. And so a big part of what we do at the Holler is trying to lift up those voices.
Okay, so tell us, when did the Holler start? How did it come to be?
So I ran for Congress against Marsha Blackburn in 2018. Gloria Johnson is here, by the way. I scared her off. She ran for Senate, and I ended up running against a guy named Mark Green, who is his own kind of. Yes. And then when I lost the mark, I wanted to stay involved in the conversation. We didn't really have this kind of outlet around here saying what I believe to be the truth about what's going on in Tennessee. So we started it in 2019, back when a guy named Glenn Cassidy was speaker. We sort of helped get rid of that guy. Not that he was replaced by any, yeah. And, you know, we've just spent the last 5 years trying to, you know, hold powerful people accountable and lift up the voices that are doing good work around here. And that's what the Holler is. And, you know, we like to say that we're nothing without you all. And that's what we really believe. You know, the Holler is just what you help us to be. And so I really appreciate you all appreciating it.
Thank you. And how many hollers are there at the moment?
There's 10 hollers throughout the state, which is pretty cool. For the first 2 years, we kept hearing, you know, there should be a North Carolina holler or an Alabama holler. And I do think that's true, but I wanted to actually get more local because what was happening was we were talking to people in Nashville about the stuff that Jason Zachary was doing. And, you know, Knoxville people need to hear about that. So we started these regional hollers so that the people that can hold them accountable were actually hearing what they were doing. So we have a Knoxville one, Memphis, Tri-Cities, and on and on. And to me, actually, what they do, getting local, focusing on school board stuff, county commission stuff, city council stuff, like that actually, I believe, is probably the most important thing that we do.
With some of the national work that I do with national digital content, there's a website, there's a tracking page that shows the 100 most trafficked social media, political social media pages, and Justin's on it. And I look at it because I was surprised. I mean, you're talking about like, you know, Kamala HQ, CNN, you know, Jake Tapper. A lot of them they're national, and there's none that I looked. There's not that I can recognize a site or a page that's dedicated to state politics. So it's pretty impressive.
I will just go back to that's this crowd. That's the people that are at home. You know, we are organic. We don't buy traffic. We don't pay for amplification. Everything that happens is just through the Holler. You are the Holler. So thank you.
He's humble, but he's very sweet. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about Toby Morton. All right, just some things when I was looking at this. He's a writer, he's a comedian, he was original writer on South Park and Mad TV. He grew up in Denver. I learned, I did not know that you grew up with Trey.
But Evergreen, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Colorado.
He is the poker of proverbial Republican, the proverbial Republican bear, an antagonizer of all things far right and fascist, and he's a placer of billboards. Thank you very much. Okay, so Toby, you make mock satirical websites for sitting governors, state and U.S. legislators, superintendents, mobs for liberty. Even news anchors. You're a brilliant writer, and you use facts to shine the light on some pretty high-profile individuals. Can you tell everyone the purpose of these websites? And maybe a little bit about the one that started it all.
Well, back in 2019, I decided to get onto Twitter. I had my name, like 2009, I got my name on Twitter like everybody did. And then I got this notification saying, congratulations, you've been on Twitter for 10 years. And I'm like, no, I haven't. So I got on and I started just doing some animation and going after politicians, not with the websites, but I read an article where this guy in some Midwestern town grabbed the domain of his political opponent. And he took that domain and redirected it to, you know, some Wikipedia word for jerk or something like that. And I thought, wow, you could really do a lot more with their domain name. So I thought, who's dumb enough to not grab their domain name? So I went to
everyone.
I went to the Republican Party
And the first one I grabbed was Devin Nunez, 2020.com. And, and then I thought, well, there's got to be a few more. I got Matt Gates and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So basically, none of them got their domains. So I grabbed all of them and just started building websites, but they were just to make me laugh. And then in 2022, I had the website EliseStefanik2022.com. And that was picked up by HuffPost. And the next morning, that really is kind of what put me out there, was that website. And from there, I just started getting all of these messages from people saying, go after this person, or go after this person. And still to this day, who are we talking about today at lunch? John Rose?
John Rose.
So yeah, I knew nothing about. Well, while we're at lunch, I go, oh, and I grabbed his domain during lunch today. And then I went back to the hotel room and I started his website. And it will probably take another day or two, but it's just, that's how quick it is. And they're really stupid. I don't know if you know. Really stupid.
Let me say at lunch, I mean, John Rose is also my congressman, and he didn't just grab John Rose's domain name, he grabbed John Rose for governor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people who are running for governor. And of course, hey, everybody, Gloria's here, Larry Johnson. As if the things get slow, I just yell out her name. But probably my favorite website, I'm not just saying this because I'm in Tennessee, but Senator Blackburn 2024. Yeah, but so that's been in the works for a while. But sometimes when people I get a lot of messages to my websites from the other side. But one in particular stood out recently. And what you do when you come to my websites, you can leave an anonymous message. But if you subscribe for some odd reason, then I can see your location. So this message came through after I released it. Yeah, and it came from this location. Weird thing, it came from the area where Marsha Blackburn's Tennessee office is. And it's basically telling me, please take...
No, that's you. That's your response.
Oh,
to
yeah.
them.
They were basically saying, take down the website. This is wrong. The usual stuff that they say. And yeah, it was from that area. So I replied, I'd be happy to take it down if Marsha meets with Gloria for a debate. Which obviously didn't happen. But so that's pretty much how that went. So that's the latest one.
And I love that because you haven't offered to take down, you get a lot of messages and requests from individuals requesting or threatening to have this stuff taken down, but you don't offer to take them down. You gave her an out.
I really did.
You really did.
Yeah, and I still have a few updates to make, here in the next couple of days.
Oh, yeah. And we're gonna go through a little bit of it here in a moment, but I just wanted to
But yeah, it's kind of an addiction now. I get notifications from GoDaddy saying that, hey, this domain expires, pay for it, or it's going to renew or whatever. And I have all of these domains that I don't really need, but they've been renewed and I have to have them. So,
I have most certainly sent him a text and was like, can you please get this domain if you don't have it already?
Yeah. Like at lunch today, John Rose. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is great because if he runs for governor, we have a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lindsay. Okay, one of the things that I love about Lindsay is that it's her delivery. I believe that she talks to a lot of the conservative Republicans in my life that I love. She talks directly to their hearts, I think, or it's my hope that she does. And so you cover a lot of topics, but I am here for the Christian nationalism and the overlap of that between politicians and our government and what it's looking like. So can you tell us a little bit about how that particular topic became such a focus of your work?
So it all started when it's back in 2018, I believe. I'm a former evangelical Christian, and I was at a small group from a mega church, and someone compared Trump to King David. And I watched in horror as people all around me nodded in agreement. So the Lord's imperfect vessel to carry out his will on earth. And then a year later in Alabama, it was 2019, they passed, I think it was like the Human Life Protection Act or something. And it was a full abortion ban without any exceptions. And of course it was blocked by the federal judge. But I went to work that day really upset about it and said something to someone who goes to that church about girls having to carry their rapist babies and incest and all that. And she said, well, I just really think that God has a plan for those babies. And as a survivor and a person who's given birth twice, I thought that's the most fucked up thing I've ever heard, ever. This is a very slippery slope. And so, yeah, that's how it started. There are over 40,000 Christian denominations alone, and some of them are pretty wild and not very good for women. So when we talk about being a Christian nation, I'm like, well, which one? Like the love your neighbor, care for the poor, or the Handmaid's Tale? And I know which direction we're going in Alabama.
And where did you start making videos? Was it about Christian nationalism to begin with, or was it something else?
Actually, my first video was in my car right after the insurrection. I just picked up my phone and said, if Trump had said grab him by the penis, it would have been over the first day. But he said the other word, and it was women, and they told us to forgive him and support him and vote for him. And I never thought anyone would see my content. I was just venting. Because I suspected that certain people in my life were tired of hearing about Trump. So I just took it to the internet, and I knew it was like my dirty little secret. It was just my place to vent. If I'd known that this was going to happen, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I'm very introverted. This is way outside my comfort zone. So
Is it outside your husband's comfort zone?
no,
Incredibly supportive.
he's very supportive. Yes.
Okay, so I love how she ends every video with, I hope this helps.
And I really do hope it helps.
So very briefly, I just want to play this video and then.
In here and say that Tennessee men aren't necessarily more religious than young women. They're just more likely to embrace a religion that says they are superior, smarter, stronger, and more important than their female counterparts. And I don't think that the Lord is sending me
Sorry, y'all. It's like.
men to the church. I think that these young men are flocking to an institution.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Did everybody see that one?
We already know it. Okay.
Yeah, we saw it.
Because I'll fuck it up again, I know that I will. So please just talk a little bit about that particular video and how it came to be.
There's an article about, what did the article say? Something about
Why Gen Z men are not more religious.
New York Times.
yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. So I've been in the church, and I think that there are a lot of young men, I think, who are lonely and people who are looking for a community. And the church is a great place for men who are looking for a woman to submit, and that whole culture. It's very convenient for men.
Nobody calls them out like you do. And you do it in a way that is, it's passive aggressive. But it's also in a way that, like, I believe, first of all, my sister's a moderate conservative in North Carolina. She's also voting for Kamala for the first time. And it's like, when I listen to you talk, I just feel like, man, I think you and my sister would be friends. So I just feel like you're speaking to people like her, and that she sees this and hears it and moves the needle. Do you hear from people that the way you deliver these messages, it moves that needle for them?
All the time. I hear from Republican women all the time, conservative women, in my comments, in my DMs. So
Then it's working.
I do know how to. I do know how to get through to them. Well, not all of them, I wish, but I have for sure. I know I've flipped Republican women. So and the big really, when I make content, I really do try to make it palatable for people who don't want to hear the message but need to hear it. And it's all about, I know I'm kind of in an echo chamber, but I really want people to share it and to give people talking points and to kind of model how to talk to people, because no one's ever been like, you can't browbeat someone into agreeing with you or changing their mind. So
It doesn't feel that way with you ever. I feel I have actually sent your content to my sister and my mother. So I haven't sent all your content to my mom. I've sent yours.
that's what it's for.
Thank you. All right, Michael, how are you? I will say this, I did not start watching your content for political commentary. I think I was introduced because it was more of like a 411 portal for Chads and Karens who were being horrible people. And you were helping find who these people were. It's like nobody is safe to be an asshole as long as there are cameras and Tizzy around. So,
To that point, I'll say this. The internet is one giant small town. Always think of it that way. That's how I look at it. So you could do something, you could be visiting Nashville from California and do something stupid here, and someone gets it on camera, and you go home and go, who's going to know that I did that? Well, when someone like me puts it on the internet, your next door neighbor and or the person who went to high school with you is going to know that you did that. So
because I love, he says, Tampa, Florida, who's this guy? And how long does it take for you to find these?
It's always Tampa.
You're from Florida, I shouldn't have said that, but it is always Tampa.
he said, how long does it take?
Yeah, I mean,
Sometimes I literally have the person within hours. I think my record is 15 minutes. The video went live on TikTok, and before I had finished posting to Instagram and Twitter, I had the name from TikTok. So.
Wow.
and also let's say, I mean, if you follow, I'm sure you all follow him already, but it's like, you're not just doing this for shits and giggles. It's like you hand this stuff over to police and investigators, and like people are charged. Like you're like a vigilante.
Well, I'll say this. It's the only feather I have in my cap. Michael Giacchino, who's a music composer, he's done he won the Oscar for doing music from Up, so he's made all of you cry. He's done a bunch of stuff, including he did the music for the Batman, right? And when he reached out to me, he was like, "Oh, I love your stuff. You're the real life Batman." And I was like, "You can't say that to me as the person who did the music from the Batman." And then he sent me sheet music from the Batman and wrote, "You are the real life Batman." And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and that one I'm gonna go ahead and post.
Good job, good job. Okay, so thank you for your service also on making sure that assholes are not just let to roam the world.
I always like when I send you a message too. Some of his videos start out with him just rubbing his temple like this. And I know it's gonna be great.
You're so stupid. I think when we first talked on the phone and we were having a conversation, you said what drives you is just misinformation and the amount of misinformation out there. And so a lot of the content that you have, you're dispelling misinformation. So how much of your content would you say is devoted to just righting the wrongs of rumors or misinformation put out there? And what are a few of them that have happened that just felt really good to be like, let me set the record straight?
I think they all feel good on some level. But yeah, that's it. That is how I started out. In 2018, I joined TikTok just for looking for a creative outlet. I work in the film and television industry, directing and editing. And sometimes when you're editing stuff and you're exporting or rendering something, you're just waiting. So I like to have something that I could jump to. And when I first found TikTok, I was like, this reminds me of Vine. I like this. So I was just doing dumb beard jokes and stuff like that. And then I saw misinformation spreading rapidly on that platform. Someone would say something so stupid, and it has 4 million views and 300,000 likes and 150,000 people going, this changes how I see the world. And I'm like, 10 seconds on Google, and you know that this isn't even true. And this was before you could stitch or duet on TikTok. And I'm literally making videos going like, I saw this video where this person said this thing. Why are you believing that? That is not true. And I think that ebbs and flows. It's sort of like sometimes I'm doing a lot more of it than others, but we had those moments where there's a lot more of it about any given thing. So, the election in 2020, obviously a ton of misinformation anytime there's a big election that's going on. Then COVID happened, tons of misinformation about COVID. Then the vaccines, tons of misinformation about the vaccines. So it's more like when there's the need and I see that thing trending or getting momentum that is so, oftentimes it's not just that it's like not true, it's harmful.
Yeah.
It hurts people, especially the people believing it. And that just, I can't sit with that. In the same way I can't sit with someone just assaulting someone or doing this thing so that it harms them and then thinking they can just walk away and everything's fine. And all these people go like, First Amendment, what are you gonna do? No, that's not free speech. When you threaten to kill someone and you hurl slurs at them, that's not protected speech. That person's life is forever changed for that interaction. You deserve to face some sort of consequence. I can't make the police prosecute you. I can't make these things happen, but I can put it out there in a way. What I find, especially with stuff like that, is like law enforcement or even more so like prosecutors. It oftentimes, I look at it like I'm just trying to amplify something because in any given place, police have a ton of stuff happening. This is just one thing that fell in the cracks of a million things. If I can sit there and make some noise about it, usually what happens, there's a prosecutor who goes, well, this is a layup for me. I can come out and do something with this and look at me. This has got attention. People care about this. And then, and that's the way I look at it too. Like, be the hero. I love the beach ball. Come in and spike it. And then everyone pats you on the back. The misinformation thing isn't that different. It's still the same kind of harm. Maybe there isn't a person who gets to play the hero in that role, but it is just about like, I can't just sit by and watch a bunch of people believe this. And
I feel like everybody, I mean, all of you, it's like, us versus them, it's like I hate to do that, but like they are putting out this crazy misinformation. And I feel like all 5 of you are constantly just dispelling that Lindsay and Elizabeth, both of you guys are constantly putting up situations or somebody talking and then you like, this person's a moron, let me set the record straight. Right, Liz?
I repeat myself all day. I cannot say enough that no, the president does not have the authority to expand the Supreme Court. Please, everyone, go tell everybody. I have had to repeat that like 12 times today alone. Like, it's always some sort of misinformation, and it's so repetitive. But I'm like, shit, let me keep repeating it because maybe then it'll actually help. But yeah, it's very frustrating.
Toby, we're talking about facts and misinformation here. And so I would love for you to please explain how you don't have 37 cease and desist orders on all of your websites at any time.
Well, it comes down to satire
Mhm.
and parody, and also it's all fact.
Yeah.
And the very thing I do first is I grab all the facts, and the one that took the longest was March of Blackbird. Just because there's so much that I didn't realize was out there. So there she is, bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. So my whole focus is to grab all the facts first and lay them out on the website, as boring as that will be, and then make it as interesting as possible for people to read it. And I want it to look as much as a professional campaign website as I can, even though a lot of people know that it's from me. But there are still those that kind of go, huh? And it kind of throws them off, which is good. But yeah, with this one, yeah. Over the past couple of years, I've done it more from the first person.
That just said, my approach is what God intended, including voting against disaster relief.
Yeah. But yeah, it's spoken in her voice, but they're all facts. She chooses money over children, and she says that right there, and it's right there on the website. You can read it right there. So to your question, when nobody can come to me and go, hey, you can't say that because it's true.
Yeah.
So
And to that point though, they can send the cease and desist.
Yeah.
I've gotten plenty.
Okay.
Guess what that means? It means if I don't cease, you're claiming you're going to sue me.
Yes.
Cool.
Right.
Go ahead. I didn't say anything defamatory. I didn't say anything that was untrue. You feel free to do that. They're hoping that the cease and desist is the thing that makes you go, oh, sorry, it takes it down. We're not taking it down.
But a lot of the people who send, I've gotten a few quote unquote cease and desist, and they're obviously from, one of those law sites where you fill out the information. Because a couple of times at the bottom it says name of company. It's like, okay, all right, we get it. All right, name of company, I see you.
But
It's fun
also,
getting the though, and then have a like, baby, we're show damages. How much money you lost? Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Because people forget about that part of the claim. Like, you could prove every single element of it, but until you got some damages that are going to get us into court, you are not getting anything. So go ahead. How much money did you lose? Nothing.
Gloria Johnson's here, by the way.
and also, I mean, as much as like you think, I would think that Marsha would be like mortified that this exists out there. Maybe not. Maybe she, I mean, I know she has no feeling whatsoever, but any of them, I mean, you told me tell the story about Lauren Bobart. What did she do?
Oh, God. So I'll try to make it as short as possible, but I got a website and it was called thelaurenbogart.com. And it was before the 2022 race. And I put it out there and her, what do you call them, campaign manager sent me an email saying you must take down the photo of Lauren off your website because that's owned by the government. And then I looked over again and her campaign manager subscribed to the website for updates, obviously. So I obviously didn't take it down. And I think I replied, can we swear?
Yeah. I mean, sincere.
I told her to go fuck herself and to reply if she doesn't want to do that. So I had a friend, she didn't reply, so, I mean, obviously we know what happened. So
If you would not like to go fuck yourself, please,
Yeah.
text.
Right. So I had a friend who was out there and I don't know if you know this, but Lauren is from Rifle, Colorado. Yeah, it's real. So my friend was out there and he was across the street from Shooter's Grill that she used to own. And he was taking video of it for this thing I was putting together. And this woman starts shouting, I put the video up on Twitter, but I'll put it on Instagram. This woman across the street, some woman is yelling, what are you doing? Put that camera down, what are you doing? And he gets on the phone with me and he goes, hey dude, there's a lady yelling at me. And I was like, just keep filming, you're not on the property. And he hangs up. And then he calls back a minute later and goes, yeah, it's Lauren Bogart yelling at me. And I go, and he goes, but I'm okay. And I go, yeah, but are you still filming? And he goes, no, because I'm on the phone with you. And I go, get off the phone and start filming. So I was really worried about him. So he goes back to his car in a nearby parking lot. And this is all on video. And he starts filming and Lauren walks up and she goes, what are you doing here? And in this video exchange goes back and forth for a minute. And she's like, why are you here? And he goes, I don't know. And she goes, who are you with? I don't know. And she goes, I'm going to call blah, 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 the officer. She goes, I know all of the police here in Rifle. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure you do. But basically it ended with, yeah, that's how it ended basically. And then she had a waitress from Shooter's Grill pretend that she was a random person and send me photos that were taken saying, hey, we see your friend doing some weird stuff. And the phone she left, you know how when you take a photo and you take a screenshot to send, but if you take a full screenshot, you can see photos below that they're all from Lauren's phone. So Lauren was the one sending these, even though we thought it was like a waitress from Shooters. Lauren was actually sending me these photos taken of the license plate of my friend and other personal information. So anyway, but
She never took you to court.
no, she never took me to court. But that was basically, it was a little bit of a long story, but that's kind of what happened with Lauren. You know.
Okay, before we finish on the Marcia page really quick, I just wanted to read two quotes because I love, there's endorsements, there's endorsement page. One of them is from God above you. Marcia Blackburn has not spoken with me. I do not return her phone calls. She leaves 700 voicemails a week. I do not agree with her. Blocked.
That was gone.
I mean, you have to listen to God. The other one is a family member from Tennessee. Marcia doesn't show up for Thanksgiving due to the fact that there will be debates at the dinner table. Okay, and then finally, before we wrap this up, I wanted to show you this. There's a website campaign. And so when people donate, there's an opportunity for, Toby will hold a domain and he'll make a splash page while he's building it out. And while it's live, it's got the donation page and people can give money to it. And these, he'll put billboards up for certain candidates or certain politicians. So these, I am very excited to say, we have 4 of them going up on Monday in Tennessee.
Early next week, Monday, Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. But there'll be, obviously, there are gonna be some smaller ones with a QR code. So people can literally walk up with their phone and it'll take them right to the website. But, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's right, I think you can all see it, and it's right to the point. I mean, the AR-15 greater than a child, so there you go.
Guns are greater than kids,
Right,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
what you're doing for Tennessee. All right, Justin, I have a question for you once that opens up again. All right. So I have often thought about our current legislators and here in Tennessee, specifically our GOP. And I think sometimes like they must be so bummed that they reign supreme with a supermajority in the time of the Tennessee Holler. Like of all the times that you to be alive at the legislative, they're like, this is what they get. So thank you for that. You are showing highlight clips of school board meetings and footage of, like we saw earlier, where you're following these legislators through the halls. If it's not you who's asking these questions, who's doing it? And do you feel like our current media is covering adequately our politics in general? You can stay with Tennessee specifically, or I know you posted something yesterday. Your cartoon of the day was very telling, I think, from a presidential standpoint.
Well, I don't like to bag on the media, but I do it a lot. I wish we didn't have to exist, honestly. I have a strained relationship with the rest of the media. They vote unanimously to keep us out of the press corps. They don't like me. And, some of them are good at what they do. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff to cover. It's like a fire hose of bullshit coming out of the Capitol all the time. I'm not breaking any news saying that. They don't have a lot of resources. I'm told back in the day, there were dozens of reporters at the Capitol. Now it's like, there are days when I'm the only one up there. And so,
And you still don't have access, and you're the only one there.
yeah, I mean, Cameron Sexton keeps me out of his press conferences. I'm not allowed on the House floor. Again, I just go back to like, if it wasn't me, we all have to be up there doing it. We all have to be up there. We all have to be recording all the time. We all have to be, testifying, which I know some of the people in the audience do. We can't wait for the media to save us. They're not going to do it. So, again, I don't like to bag on them. I feel like part of our job has become trying to hold the media accountable. You should see my direct messages with the reporters in Tennessee. They're sick of me, probably more sick of me than the legislators are. It's sad, but this is where we are. So I guess my note about that would just be like, we can't wait for them to do their jobs. What they do, is not easy. I'm disappointed in them on a regular basis, but we all have to become the truth tellers.
Now, this last week, Wilson County officially pulled over 400 books that you shared, and Williamson County School Board all voted to rescind their opinion on the vouchers. I Googled, I looked up to see who else was covering it, and I saw one Channel 2 news clip on the Williamson County and nothing on the Wilson books since.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, think about that. 400 books removed from Wilson. It shouldn't have to be us telling that story. But in both of those instances, those came from regular people telling us what was going on. And so, most of our job has become just looking at our inbox, fielding incoming from people that know we're here now. So again, like it just has to be regular people sounding the alarm everywhere they can. And in those two particular instances, I mean, that Wilson County story is crazy. There's Wilson County people here today, 400 books being removed. That's Tennessee for you right now. Williamson County, same thing. Just had a bunch of new school board members replace more reasonable ones. It's taken a big lurch to the right. They're going to kill the golden goose that is the school system in Williamson County. And that should be a big story in Tennessee because even though we're not a swing state, we are the tip of the spear when it comes to all of these issues that we're talking about. We're the place with the most anti-LGBTQ bills. We're the place with the most draconian abortion bill in the entire country. What they get away with in Tennessee is coming your way next. And a place like Williamson County is the tippy top of the tip of that spear. And that should be what so many outlets are focused on. We should not be the only ones reporting on that.
And when you say you message these reporters, do you send them your work and say, please cover this?
All the time. All the time. And then we'll say, where is this? I mean, the chief of staff for the president says that he likes Hitler, and like I'll go to the Tennessean website. I'm like, where is it? Eventually, it was there to their credit, but that's the kind of thing where it's like they need to hear from everybody. When are you going to cover this? Where is it? Where's the article? The debate. I mean, just the other day we had a quote unquote debate with Gloria and Marcia because no other outlet was giving Marcia the empty podium moment that she deserved, like they gave David Perdue in Georgia when he wouldn't debate. So, I hate that this has become a big part of our job is to try to hold the media accountable. They probably think we're, they call me a liberal activist, which, okay. But, yeah, sure, fine. Call me whatever you want, but just do your jobs.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for holding them accountable. It's like we're holding both politicians accountable and media accountable. It's like, it's exhausting. I know we're all tired, right? Everybody's tired.
But this election is not a destination, it's a checkpoint, and we all have to know that this is just the world we live in now, and we're gonna have to keep going.
Yeah, 100%. Liz, let's talk a little bit about the Tennessee tea that you spilled, please.
What about it?
What about it? Well, I know that Tennessee is near and dear to your heart for a lot of reasons, but you make sure that the rest of the country knows what's happening here, whether you're talking about Jody Barrett or those recordings or talking about John Rose's child bride. Tell us, when this comes up, it's like, it's time to spill the tea. Tell us, how do you decide what you're going to share, what's pertinent, and are you spilling tea anywhere else, or is it just Tennessee gets this?
I talk about a lot of things, but definitely Tennessee. So like Jody Barrett, that's because my friend who I went to law school with working in his law office was like, Jody's a fucking idiot. Didn't you see it? So I'm like, I'm gonna make a video about that. That's the joy of being from Tennessee, like having all these connections. The legal community here is tiny. It's small. And even though I don't live here anymore, just the fact that I went to law school here and stayed connected with folks, I'm like, I know what these people are doing.
Jody will be very excited that you named him. He just loves any attention.
Jody needs
Gloria like that one.
But yeah, I get really pissed about what happened to Tennessee. My nieces live here. My youngest niece just graduated from UT Knox. And 3 of my nieces are living here in Nashville. My mama and daddy, my uncles, my cousins are still back in Memphis. And then I've got family spread all in between. Everything that they do here is still impacting people who I care about. My closest friend, my best friend, she's still in Memphis. So I've been best friends with her for 23 years. All of my ties here are very, very important to me. And all of my friends and family are important to me. And so, it's also just really uncommon for someone from Memphis to have a platform like I do. And people are always really, really happy just to see that somebody from Memphis is at the DNC, that somebody from Memphis is working in the Capitol. I mean, I rarely run into anybody. I mean, it's very rare to run into anybody from Memphis and DC. And so also just trying to make sure I represent my city really well, because they shit on us. Like, this is the hardest thing about Nashville. They hate us because we're too black and we scare the shit out of them. And they love to come after Memphis and attack us, all the way down to these gun violence referendums that they came after Memphis for. And God bless JB Smiley for giving them the smoke, because that's what needed to happen.
You're going there tomorrow?
I will be in Memphis tomorrow. My daddy's coming to pick me up and drive me back. And yeah, and I'll be in my alma mater on Saturday. So I'm very excited to go back home. And yeah, so I talk about all the tea, and I love giving them nicknames. Cameron Sex Scandal Sexton, like Raggedy Andy Ogles, like they all need those nicknames. I think what did I call what's his face? What's the one got ejected from Congress? Why am I forgetting his name? The liar. What's his one? The only one that's gotten like kicked out. Santos. Yeah, because what do they call? They call Andy Ogles the Santos of the South, right? That's what they call him, with his international sex crimes expertise on his resume and all that. It's just too easy to just talk mess about them. And John Rose.
I hate that's where we're at with Tennessee right now. It's like this is why we have to flip these seats, because I hate being the butt of these jokes, but I am so appreciative that you share.
But it's not just that, because then I also get to post my picture with Justin Jones that I posted yesterday at the White House. And Justin was there representing, and we were talking about, with the gun violence executive order. My brother's unfortunately a gun violence victim in Memphis. He was murdered in 2017. And so all of the gun violence issues that happen here in Tennessee are near and dear to my heart. So I love, putting Justin Jones, Justin Pearson on there. I love putting Gloria. So there's good things too.
Yeah, you do. You definitely have spread the love as well.
Yes, definitely. Because I want people to see I'm proud. I'm proud of my state in a lot of ways as well.
And we do. We have a lot that's happening here, like I said earlier, so.
And I'll throw this in there too, like, I mean, you talk about, you're trying to be in the butt of the joke. I'm from Florida.
I know.
Talk about butt of a joke. Hold my beer. But no, obviously I talk about a lot of Florida issues because I'm there, because I grew up there. I care, fighting for the soul of that place, as I said. I've done a lot of stuff that happened in Tennessee because I'm open to wherever it's happening. And I can say with the Tennessee stuff specifically, the reason I've spoken about that and made posts about it was this guy messaging me and going, hey, did you see this? This is happening here. Would you be willing to, and not just saying like, because I'll get those messages. They're like, did you see what so-and-so said? Could you make a post about it? I mean, I can spend 45 minutes trying to figure out what you're talking about. Just as like, hey, here's the PowerPoint here's the bullet points of what happened. Here's the links, here's the stuff, here's the footage. I've already edited it down. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this is awful. Yeah, I can do a post about this. And also thank you for kind of packaging it and prioritizing it and making it about something that also makes me angry. Like that I can see and gets me fired up and makes me go, oh, I want to post about this. And I think that's, as he said, that we need everybody doing this thing. We all wish we didn't have to do this. I would like to never, ever again say, who is this?
Yeah, right.
Just because, not in the sense of I don't like doing it. I don't like that I have to do it. I'd rather no one acts horribly on video ever again. I'd rather no one starts spreading a horrible lie about Kamala Harris again, that I'm just like, I get the messages like, did you see this? It was really bad for her. And I'm like, first of all, a bombshell expose came out, 3 of them each day on Donald Trump over the past 2 months. I did this on my stories the other day. I posted, I was like, any other politician, this one thing would have been the end. We would have been counting them out and it would be done. And no one even bats an eye. We're just like, there he is again. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris apparently has to walk on water. Because if she even stumbles, it's like, that's it. She's done. But like, all of those things, we wish we didn't have to do it. But that's the world we currently live in. And I'm grateful that there's a bunch of people, like the people who showed up here tonight, because I'm one person, I'm one signature on a petition. I'm yelling into the void for the most part. If I didn't have a bunch of people who went, yeah, that makes me mad too, what can we do about it? And I can say, oh, there's this petition, or there's this way you can support this person, or you can go and hold signs and call your congressman or send an email. If I, I have no power other than saying like, well, this is what you could do. And then a bunch of people like yourselves who actually care take the time to do that. And that's always the way we're going to enact change. That's always the way we're going to move the needle. So
My dream is to delete everything and be a boring, basic suburban mom and just go. I don't want to do this. I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Talking about Florida, you guys have 2 amendments on your election coming up, and you've made some really crucial content about amendment 3 and 4, recreational marijuana and personal use, and then the abortion for before fetal.
6 week abortion.
6 week.
We have a 6 week
Yeah.
abortion ban.
Okay, so the content that I see you are sharing, it's crazy because you hope, first of all, Tennessee, we don't have that. Like Florida has the ability to put those amendments on your ballot, and it's incredible because Ohio's done it and different states have done it. I would love to see Tennessee in a place where they're asking the people what they feel. I mean, I don't see that happening here anytime soon. So with the content that you're putting out there, what is the response that you're getting? And are you seeing it move the needle as far as those 2 amendments specifically? And how do you think they'll fall?
I mean, I sit here tonight and go, hope they're both going to pass. Yeah. Amendment 4, that's the abortion ban one. Like, that's what's weird about it. And I have people message me. It's a weird thing to see an amendment about an abortion ban and you need to say yes. Because people feel like, wait, I'm saying yes to the bans. No, the ban already exists. You're saying yes, we don't want the ban. And that's kind of a weird thing. So a big
The
part of
education
that.
of that.
Yeah, a big part of that has been like, this is what you want to say yes on. Because, and that's the reality, like when they poll people, like people are not for it. Kamala Harris kicked off her reproductive freedom tour in Florida, in Palm Beach County where I grew up. I was fortunate enough to be there and for the Jacksonville stop. And every woman who was speaking at those, we're talking about mothers who have children. I think every single one of them said like, I didn't know I was pregnant until after 6 weeks. I didn't know until, and I had a situation I just made a video about the other day, and I don't, obviously want to out the person, but someone that I know, a coworker of theirs, came to them and asked for counsel. She's a very young woman who's only been dating her boyfriend for a very short time, and just found out she's 5 weeks pregnant, which in itself is a miracle that she found out at 5 weeks.
Yeah.
But she had less than 7 days to make a pretty amazing decision. And part of that decision, she wanted to be talking to him. He's out of the country and unavailable to get a hold of until after the deadline. So they have created a scenario where the father can't even be involved. And this poor woman is left with this, like, what do I do? I don't know. I wasn't even considering this. And now I have multiple decisions, but only one of them is on a clock. And that clock is, it's not as simple as like, hey, you know what? This morning, I'm definitely going to go grab that abortion real quick. No, she has to make appointments. She has to go in for consultation. She has to do all these things. She had to go in. She went into a place, and what did she meet? She met people screaming that she's a murderer as she walked in the door. She was just trying to get information. That is barbaric. That out of that, in that moment, and I know I can't speak for her, I'll speak for myself. If you put me in a corner and tell me one of these options goes away like this and the rest are like whatever, I'm probably picking the one that goes away. Because as soon as that clock runs out and it's no longer an option, if I suddenly go like, what am I going to do? Can she go to another state? Sure, all these horrible, complicated things that she shouldn't have to be thinking about. That her boyfriend should not have to think about, if we're getting real. Reproductive freedom affects so much more than just a woman. It affects so many people. And just the simple fact of like, how is the people who are claimed to be about less government, the ones advocating for the government telling you what to do with your body? That makes no sense and will never make sense. So at least that is on there, and I'm seeing a lot of positive movements on it. But until it's over, it ain't over. So we just don't know how it's going to go. Meanwhile, we have our governor, by the way. The reason it even is up for for debate, that we can vote on it, is because there were petitions that were signed. And again, they got so many signatures, which again leads me to believe that it will pass. The people, the residents went like, we're not happy about this. We don't like that you did this without us, right? He has come out and said, oh, so many of these are fraudulent and we want it removed.
Signatures?
Yeah, and we want it removed from the ballot. And then it just came out that there's now a lawsuit that's been filed that has a secret angel investor paying for it. And I will do anything to find out who that is. I want to do a video that shows that, or I may do it, that shows that article and goes, who is this?
Yeah, I was about to say, who's America, who's
Who is someone?
I don't
tell me who it
understand
is.
why you haven't done
Because
that.
if you want to dig into your pockets and dump just hundreds of thousands of dollars into this, into taking away just a woman's right to choose, I think you need to wear that publicly.
Yes.
No white hood for you. You got to come out and wear that, so.
I think that is your next video.
It's probably going to be in the mix, yeah.
That is what's next. Lindsay, you have Senator Katie Britt in Alabama.
I do.
She's delightful.
Something.
She is something. I believe you lovingly refer to her as Serena Joy.
Serena Joy, that's right. The thing about Katie Britt, and we do know some of the same people. A lot of the stuff that she says, I know she doesn't agree with. And she was going around telling her donors when she was running for office, we've got to defeat these extremists.
The extremist, as in she's not one of them?
Right. And people really believed her. So she's been an enormous disappointment. She was Richard Shelby's protege, and people considered him to be a true statesman who, worked across the aisle. And she's, you saw.
But tell us, like,
So
what was your reaction and Alabama's reaction to her video from the kitchen table?
Everyone hated it. Like everyone, even Republican women, it was, and of course I did the response and it went like crazy viral.
Crazy viral.
4 people on my street reached out to me about it. And yeah, everybody thought it was crazy. One of the things someone said was that, who knows her personally, says that when she saw the video, she was like, did they replace Katie with AI or something? Like that's not how she talks. It's not who she is. So it was very strange.
It's bonkers. I mean, she's very creepy, so she's not normally like that.
No. No.
That is so concerning. Somebody needs to do a wellness check on her.
I know. I thought about, I did free Emily t-shirts. I thought about free Katie t-shirts because I'm like, come on, girl. I'm still rooting for her. I'm still rooting for you, Katie.
I know your video, I remember you saying like it was a plea for her to choose women over party.
Right.
I don't feel like she's done that.
No, one thing, she was at the Alabama game in the skybox, but boy, that was a motley crew. It was
Oh, God.
Trump and, who else, like Kid Rock, John Daly. Yeah, it was a real who's who of
Yeah, it was.
misfits and dirtbags.
And you really did try to do a flyover for that stadium game, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And then we tried to get a digital banner like inside the stadium that goes around, and they told us that there was a ban on political speech that weekend. So, yeah. But yeah, we got in just the day, the deadline to do the digital banner inside the stadium. And they were filling out the paperwork and everything. And then when the guy realized that it was political, he was like, oh, no, we can't, there's no political speech that weekend. So, yeah.
Well, I applaud your efforts for trying, thank you.
Another time.
Toby, there is it's a presidential election and where mainstream media is on lock with what's happening with Trump and Harris. You focus a lot on local and state elections, including Senate and House, school board, attorney general. How do your sites break through that presidential race clutter and hit the heart of the local ballots? And can you talk a little bit about the website that you have that's just devoted to the seats that are up for grabs?
Yeah, 468seats.com. Because that's the amount of, every seat in the House is up for grabs. And then a handful of Senate seats. But I get it that, Trump, Harris, it's important. I get it. But I really wish people would, I know a lot of people are paying attention, but it's so crucial to have the Senate and the House. And
Gloria Johnson's here, by the way.
timing.
So glad you came.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I try and focus on that as much as possible. And obviously Moms for Liberty, they're still around. And they're not going away.
As far as school boards go.
Yeah, as far as school boards go. So my hope is that people are still paying attention to the House or the Senate. I don't know what else I can do, but, remind people, I get it that, Trump bad, Harris good, whatever your thoughts are, but come on.
In fact, I'll say this, because I think this is something, if you're speaking to people in your lives about this, that I feel gives a lot of weight. I think it's 37% of Republicans during a presidential election only vote for the presidential candidate and nothing else down ballot. 37% of Republicans.
Wow.
With Democrats, it's 80%. 80% of Democrats walk in that booth, mark the president, close it, and drop it off and walk away. That's the reason that Moms for Liberty is the problem that it is, because someone went, I feel like we could take these districts and no one would even care. And where I live, they started in my county. That's where they began. And even now, I look at the ballots and I see these things and it's like, this person's running unopposed. There's not even anyone who stepped up against them. And then with school boards, we have an amendment that I am trying to push for, that right now they don't have to, I think it varies in state, but they don't have to disclose their political party affiliation. And we're trying to actually change it where they have to. But it's very hard to look and go like, well, I don't know anything about these two people, except maybe I saw a pretty sign that I liked and went like, oh, I've seen that name a bunch. Seems like that person has a lot of support. There's people who vote that way just because they saw a name a bunch, like brand recognition.
Well, and building the bench of candidates who can run. I mean, that's happening here in Tennessee. I know we've got organizations like Emerge. We've got, how many people on their elections who voted, raise your hand if you voted for women all the way down the ballot this year. Are you not clapping? It's exciting. It's crazy. So I think that, thank you for bringing that up and making that, all of you guys. I think everybody here does a really good job of talking about the state and the House seats and what's up for grabs and how important they are. So thank you for continuing to do that. Okay, do we have any questions? I don't know where we're at on time. Michelle? Somebody do a time check on me? God, we're doing great on time, you guys.
Here's some more.
Thank you. Okay. You guys didn't put your names on these, so. Okay, we're gonna try. All right, let's see. I don't know who this is for, but what made you decide to shout out facts on social media? Is that for you? Who yelled out social facts for social media?
There was that question, whoever wants to answer.
Like yell out facts on social media, what do you mean?
Like facts and.
Oh, just
like.
You're saying in general, like, that what we do is yelling out facts.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay.
All I can say is again, I think it's the same thing. Like I saw people just very easily believing and spreading things that weren't true. I think that's something that bothers all of us from what we do. And so it's just, we were talking about this in the green room, how, there's this whole facts versus feelings, right? Like facts over feelings. There's a certain group that loves to say that. And what I find with the people who love to really talk about, I care about the facts, is how little they care about the facts. If you have an
I have a lot of feelings.
yeah, if you have an opinion and you want to claim that it's formed by facts, that would mean that you saw something and you didn't have an opinion, and then you sought out facts, and those facts formed your opinion. The majority of the time you see someone say facts over feelings, they had an opinion and then they sought out facts that supported it and threw away any that didn't. And that's not facts over feelings, that's your feelings guiding what you're doing. And there's nothing wrong with feeling a certain way. We all do what we do because we feel certain ways. But we're effective because we find facts. We have our opinions were formed by the fact that we found facts and went like, oh, this is what's true and real. I will yell about that. So that's why I yell about facts.
I have a question for the lawyer, and this I actually was touching on this a little bit earlier, and I didn't speak too much on it because I don't know the answer to it. So why can't Tennessee put issues like abortion on the ballot? Is there a legal basis, or is it just a lack of interest? So I know you're rolling your eyes already. Please help.
Because the legislature doesn't let you.
And that's it.
No, that's it.
So there's not a legal reason.
No, there is. That's the.
I mean, that's the legal reason.
Yeah.
It's because of this super red, super Republican legislature and what they decided to put in place. I mean,
But
that's,
can we do petitions like Florida did?
no, not until they change the state law to allow you to do so. So you need to flip the Tennessee House and the Tennessee Senate blue so you can allow things like ballot initiatives to go on. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, they're not big on democracy around here,
No,
in case you haven't noticed. Yeah, they're afraid of what the people would say. I mean, just look at the referendums in Memphis. They just wanted to put a poll question, basically, on the ballot in Memphis, and Speaker Sexton, first thing he did, was threatening to withhold revenue from the city that would have hurt a lot of people, just because they're afraid. They know what the people are going to say. They know that people want red flag laws. They know that people want to ban assault weapons. So they don't want to even have a poll question on there, let alone a ballot initiative that actually has some teeth.
yeah, and that's the issue. And if Cameron Sexton is around, it's on fight.
Great, thank you.
For the people not from
He's not
Memphis,
going
I mean,
to, he's not going to much.
Justin, what is your relationship with Phil Williams?
Are you an attorney or something? My relationship with Phil, wow, that's a loaded question. I respect him. He does a lot of good work. If he's coming after you, he probably did something. But we're arm's length in a little bit because they don't consider me media necessarily. So, I support what he does. We try to lift up what he does. And I hope he holds a warm place in his heart for me.
How can he not? Come on, how can he not? Who is your favorite influencer that's not on this panel? Political
Lindsay
influencer.
Patrick Wright.
Oh, yeah! That's right here on the front. Wave, Lindsay, wave. You should be up here. You can come on up. Anybody else?
Gloria Johnson.
She's here.
Oh, that's crazy.
I heard that.
Mine is the real Double D Mugga. She makes the Blaccurate News. That is my friend Tiffany, and she is the best at breaking this stuff down and making it entertaining. So I appreciate her.
Wait, who? Sorry.
It's the Blaccurate News. So Blaccurate, and her name is Tiffany. She goes by the real Double D Mugga, MUVA.
Do you know, do you guys follow Music Shitty in Nashville? They do this thing on Fridays where they kind of like share their favorite local businesses, which I love. I think you guys should do that. You guys should like shout out different different pages that you guys follow and kind of.
There used to be a thing on Twitter, Follow Fridays. Who remembers Follow Fridays? It's old school.
Come up with that. I didn't just come up with that.
No, I'm just saying, I agree with you. We should go back to that.
I got banned on Twitter because I bullied Scott Bale.
Stop there.
I just went back to Twitter recently.
Why?
I bullied because he's a right-wing asshole.
No, why did you?
Sorry.
Why did you go back to Twitter?
Because the Ann Coulter rant, people were like, people sharing that Ann Coulter rant because I called her names.
It's a fair question. Why are any of us
I wanted to
still on
see
Twitter?
you.
Honestly, I feel guilty still being on Twitter, but it's the same reason Pete Buttigieg goes on Fox News. You got to be where they are and fight the fight. You can't run, So
Yeah.
I don't feel good about being on Elon's platform, but I also don't want to let them chase me away.
Yeah, exactly. I don't help Elon's by any means. I get suppressed like crazy there. But when the big exodus first happened, I was like, I'm going to be a thorn in the side. I'm not going anywhere. You have to chase me. I'm going to make you all miserable. We're going to let a bunch of Nazis just have it? No. I'm going to be here going, hey, you're a Nazi. Oh, look at you. You're also a Nazi. And every once in a while, strangely enough, one of them will crawl in my inbox and say something. And I have this fun thing that I do that I post what they said. And I was like, everyone, this poor young man wants to delete his Twitter account, but can't figure out how. Perhaps all of you could help him. And I have enough of a following where quite often it's like, that account got banned. Oh, look at that. So if nothing else, every once in a while, I make it where they have to start another account, which is not the end of the world. But if I can inconvenience them for a few hours, I'm happy to do that.
This was a question that I forgot to ask earlier, but I want to ask each of you. because we talked a little bit about this, is the election is happening now, by the way. It doesn't happen in 12 days. It is happening right now. It ends in 12 days. That's the last day to vote, but we're in the midst of it now. But there's so much more that's going to happen after November 5th, aside from us not knowing who our president is right away. But I've kind of given everyone, like, everyone gets like November, maybe the month off, but December, we're back at it, right? You know, middle of November, we're back, you're not taking any time off. No days off.
No days off.
No days off. So talk to me about what is next, or what are you excited for post-election? Well, I know, yeah.
And I'll just say, you know, obviously, thankfully, we only have a legislature 4 months of the year. But that starts in January, and that's like our busiest time of the year. I mean, that's when, you know, I'm shot out of a cannon every single morning. So getting ready for the legislature and, you know, yeah, lifting up whatever happened, hopefully some new candidates.
Yeah. Liz?
I have no idea. I can't think beyond the election right now. My baby's birthday is in December. I'm throwing him a birthday party. I'm gonna buy Christmas presents, and I'm gonna order a Christmas tree. Something fun I shared yesterday. We're going to the White House for trick or treating, and I'm dressing my baby up as a coconut, and I'm gonna be a coconut tree.
Oh my God.
You won't see it because I don't post them on my platform, but you'll know.
Good, well done. Lindsay?
Running for office. So,
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm going to be celebrating an Elizabeth Anderson victory. So
Can you briefly tell us a little bit about Elizabeth, because we didn't touch on her yet, and I want to make sure we
I
do.
mean, she's amazing. She's running against Gary Palmer, my representative, and it's a grassroots campaign, and she really is an incredible candidate who, she was raised in extreme poverty, and she's a real bootstraps kind of story, and she's definitely the kind of person we need serving. So I'm really hoping for that Elizabeth Anderson win, and I'm going to run for Temperville's seat. Which it seems crazy, but no crazier than a former football coach who lives in Florida, by the way. He doesn't even live in Alabama, and I can't name the 3 branches of government. So I'm going to run for his seat. And that is if Kamala wins. If Trump wins, I'm taking my content down. And if you think I'm being dramatic, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
So it really, this is serious, and it really does make me very nervous. I've decided that if Trump wins, I will probably be taking my content down and moving. So anyway, I should have said that first and then said it. That's such a bummer. But no, I think Kamala's going to win in the landslide, and I'm going to run for Temperville's seat.
And don't forget, we have our IUD necklaces from Kin to Kids, which support Elizabeth Anderson for Congress. So, yeah.
See, I love it. I mean, you already have collaborators, you have people, you have an entire campaign team ready to set it up. So we're here for you.
I'm gonna come canvas for you.
I'll knock doors for you. Toby, do you want to talk about any domains that you have in the works, or any auction items that you want to share?
Yeah, I'm gonna be bidding on Infowars.com.
Oh.
And so I got and because I don't know, a lot of you know that obviously Alice Jones has to auction off everything. And so there are over 400 domains available that he owns. And only one of them, Infowars.com, is the one that me and my lawyer and a few others are going after. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but the whole point of that, I'm building a website which will be a daily, it's a cross between Infowars and The Onion. But it's going to be daily. It's basically going to calling out all the fascists in America. There's still plenty out
Is it a
there.
portal for all the websites that you were?
Oh yeah, there'll be you'll see all the websites on this one place. But until I find out if I can get Infowars.com or not, at the moment I'm calling it Infowars.com.
Infowars?
No, Infowars.
Oh, I think you said Infowars.
No.
Not bad.
No.
That's gonna be a cat running around.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure it's available, but I'm not gonna get it. Yeah, so that's it.
So, I'm so tired.
I know.
I'm so tired. I already have sleep problems, and then this is all happening. I mean, my anticipation is that Kamala Harris wins, which is great, but that's just gonna open up a whole other Pandora's box that we're gonna be dealing with. He stole it. He stole it from me.
The best Trump impersonation.
I do a terrible Trump impression. It's just, it captures the essence of him. It doesn't sound exactly like him, but it sounds exactly like him. Yeah, it's going to be dealing with that because you want to talk about misinformation. If that's my motivator, I'm going to probably be dealing with an absolute, to quote someone on stage, a fuck shit ton of this. That's going to be like, they stole it and then they did this and then these election officials are refusing to certify and then the lawsuit and the thing and the, I already know, I can already see the writing on the wall and it's just a matter of like, I just have to make it through November 5th. And then hopefully somehow find another gear that I didn't know where it was and run with that. So.
Well, I want to say a few things. I didn't get to everybody's questions because I don't think we want to stay for another hour because there's a lot of them in there. There's a few in there that I just breezed through. Like, please, if I didn't ask your question, come up to me afterwards because there's some things I want to talk about in there. But I just want to say thank you guys for coming to Tennessee. Thank you for making Tennessee such a stop along your social media journey and what's happening here and all the work that you do. And thank you guys for holding space for everybody here tonight and just making this a priority for your week. I can tell you this weekend, I'm knocking doors for Gloria Johnson and Afton Bain and Kamala in East Nashville, if anybody wants to join us. There are Gloria Johnson signs in the back that I want you all to take, please. I know one of the cards just said Miriam, donate if you can. If you want to knock doors for Miriam, please do. But that's it. I just want to say thank you guys. This is the type of panel that I would love to be a part of. This is the conversation that I want us to be having after November 5th. This is the kind of conversation that I want to be having in December and January and all through next year until we flip our 10 seats and we take our supermajority back. We don't need to have a supermajority. We just want equal representation. And don't let anybody tell you that a district is not flippable because it is. So thank you guys. Thank you for putting in the work. Thank you for making what these guys do so important and making it matter. Because if you weren't watching it and liking it and sharing it, then they wouldn't have the platforms.
That's how the algorithms work. You're a part of that.
You are part of it. So thank you guys. And
I will say this actually, because I think it affects everyone here as well. Nikki Fried, who runs the Democrats for Florida, I recently had a conversation with her, and I'm definitely hoping this is something we get into next year. She was having a conversation, and she started this conversation on a larger scale about how Southern Democrats are different from, say, California Democrats or Boston or Connecticut Democrats. And she feels, and I agree, that we, the nation, need to acknowledge that and start looking at it differently. You know, when Beto O'Rourke ran, they were like, we can have Nancy Pelosi come speak for you. And he was like, that's not helping me.
yeah,
No, that's not who I need here. And it's not, you know, a California Democrat might be like, get rid of all guns, where Southern Democrats like, well, I hunt, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we are different people with different needs. And I think Southern Democrats have a lot of very similar needs and desires. And we've proven with someone like an Andy Bashir or Beto O'Rourke that, you know, these Democrat voices can represent the people of a Southern place and make a difference. And when we talk about like flipping and changing things, because we need to flip to do that, I think a big part of that is if we can start acknowledging that there are differences and start going like, well, what can we do about that? What is it? What are those differences and what does that mean? And how does that inform how we campaign in the future? So I think that's something that can drastically affect Georgia and North and South Carolina and
Alabama.
Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama and Florida. So hopefully that's something that is going to get legs.
I think it's already happening. It just needs to keep happening.
It would be nice if we had sort of a unified front and could actually like acknowledge it in that way and sort of do something. So I was like, hey, do you need a guy with a big mouth and people?
You should make a video about this.
Yeah, I was like, can you start giving me your little bullet points and your ideas and I'll start just yapping about it. So hopefully that's something we all.
All right, well, thank you guys. If we can give a round of applause for everyone. Thank you, appreciate it all. Thank you so much for coming. And stick around, say hello. We have this place until 9. And have a good night.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Gloria. All right, it worked on our feed, yeah.